Well, good morning. In our continuing study of Moses, we have crossed the Red Sea and we've gone out into the desert. And if you read Exodus 15:22 to 27, it actually gives us a learning cycle that every one of us will go through. Every Christian is going to go through this cycle with God because what He wants from us is to learn from Him as He tests our faith in Him. Now, if you read that passage, you'll see 5 things that take place in a learning cycle for every Christian. And the first thing that the children of Israel and we discover is the abundance of God. God performs a miracle, the Red Sea opens up, and they walk through. You've received a miracle, your life is opened up, you've accepted the Lord as your Savior, you've been baptized, you walk through the Red Sea, and things are happening great. You've expected God to continue to do these things, and that's the second part. You've gone from the abundance of God to the expectation of God. Now you're a Christian and things are going good, and you have this expectation that things will continue. However, they're into the desert about 3 days and they haven't found any water. And so now their expectation of God's provision turns into disappointment. How many times have we expected God to continue to do the same thing, only He doesn't, and then we get disappointed? And when we're disappointed, we do the fourth thing, we complain. Now, complaining always means we look back. We had melons and leeks in Egypt. We had water in Egypt. Why did you bring us out here? So we could die of thirst? Every time we complain as Christians is because we're comparing our lives to the way that it used to be. Remember when our church was big. Remember when the youth group was happening. Remember when people got saved. Remember all these things that were going on. You're looking back. Because God is going to provide, but He's going to provide for us differently. His mercies are new every morning. They went from the Red Sea, lots of water, to no water. Then they had bitter water, and the Lord healed that. Then He brought them to 12 springs in Elim. Later on, Moses strikes a rock. God will not perform the exact same way He used to. It's not in His nature. That's not what He's about. One time Jesus healed a blind man by speaking to him. Another time He touched another one. And then one time He spit and made some mud. Jesus heals 3 different ways the same type of malady. Are we ready for God to do something different? Because if we don't remember that, our history, we're condemned to repeat it. So after they're complaining, what does God do? He provides. And that's His grace. Have you ever been in the midst of a complaint and God still granted you grace? Isn't it astounding that God does that? Can you remember these 5 things? We're going to go from abundance to expectation to disappointment to complaints to provisions. And we'll do it time and time again until we learn to go from abundance to expectations, and waiting on God to do something different. We'll move past disappointment and complaints into acknowledging His provisions. Those are the things we're going to talk about here at Journey Church. Hope you have a wonderful day at your church. I'll see you next week.